All right, Shalom. Call halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace salutations unto the hopeful elect. Once again, it is simply me, Yahweh, and I am showing myself in the flesh tonight. So anyone that might be watching and wondering what the hell I really look like, well, here I am. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, this is just a short, brief cell phone introduction. We're going to get down to business now. All right? All right, Shalom. Once again, this is simply Yawasap. All right, I introduced myself a little while ago by my cell phone, and now I'm doing the regular sit down by means of the what they call this, the recording by the monitor screen. All right, let's just call it that. But for now, I set up the camera overlay so that I could still be seen on the right side of the on the lower right side of the screen. You could still see my face for those that might be watching. All right. So anyway, Lord willing, without further ado, all right. Tonight's topic will be entitled "They Shall Fear the Elect." Isaiah 60th and the 14th verse. All right, I'm going to repeat that again. They shall fear the elect. They shall fear the elect. And that's a quote from, well, not exactly the quote, but I took and became inspired by Isaiah, the 60th chapter and the 14th verse. All right, where it says, "And the descendants of them that have afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee." You know what I'm saying? So that's the exact quote right there. And I will still read that scripture shortly. All right. Now, anyone that might be watching, all right, and I'm gonna ask you, you know what I'm saying? Why would the enemies come bending unto the elect in that day? Why would they bend? You know what I'm saying? Why would they bend, as the scripture says? And the descendants of them that have afflicted thee, and that's talking about our present day enemies, okay, beginning with the so called white man, okay, the so called white man, all right, the elite banking families, the 2/3 of our people, so called Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, all right, so called Negroes, tribe of Judah, okay, they all have they were conditioned to have a sworn hatred towards each other, all right, and to basically help keep down those like myself, all right, from having any any specific means of leveling up or prosperity in this society. You know what I'm saying? In other words, they get in the way. That they were programmed by the white man himself to get in the way. I'm talking about these no good 2/3 of our people. You know what I'm saying? So they too are the enemy, and of course the other nations. Okay, so-called African, all right, the Chinese, Asian, all right, Middle Eastern, okay, East Indian, all right. these are all heathen nations that they're going to regret real shortly what they've done to the nation of Israel. All right, and the Lord will humble them. Okay, and part of their coming humility is to come present themselves bending unto the elect men of the Lord in that day, that the elect of the Most High, when they get risen up. Okay, now there is the perfect illustration right there. Why would the enemy bend in that day? Because they're going to be afraid. Because when the Lord comes back in his dramatic fashion to break them clouds open, right? And the great apostle Elder Tahar, he was the first one to make that term, that quote quite popular. Crack them clouds open. All right. So when the Lord finally cracks them clouds open, and he comes back on that gigantic fathership and lift his elect up in that day. You know what I'm saying? Uh, right in that moment, uh, once the elect get beamed up and up in there, that they're going to change. They're going to transform. They're going to go through a quick metamorphosis, so you can understand. And we're going to go from the mere mortals that we are now, uh, being in these weak these weak ass flesh mortal bodies, and become like them magnificent angels that you see there. All right, and okay, all right, like you see in that illustration. All right, Salakin. So the Lord will the Lord is going to come back in a dramatic fashion, and at the same time, all right, He's going to transform those who have remained faithful unto Him and waited patiently, all right, that were able to resist the upcoming hour of temptation. Okay, to this whole microchip MOTB theme. Revelation, the 13th chapter. It's right around the corner. All right. So the Lord is going to test. All right. A lot of these men. All right. A lot of these men that claim to be servants and Israelites, they will be tested in that day, in that moment, and we'll see if they truly make it or not. All right. But those that remain strong and faithful, the Lord will transform. Okay? They're going to transform like the Apostle Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? For we shall be changed. All right? In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye at the last trump. Okay? We're going to go from the weak. All right. Some of us, yeah, I know. Some of us right now in these mortal bodies, some of us are kind of overweight looking. Some of us are chubby looking. Some of us are skinny looking. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are kind of puny looking with elements. Okay. High blood pressure, diabetes. Okay. Or you may have a arthritis. Okay, weak body, having body aches and so on. All of that will disappear in that given magic moment upon the Lord's return, man. Okay, and we're gonna go from the inferior beings that we're considered being now, all right, to the super immortal, all right, magnificent. We're going to have these magnificent angel-like bodies. as you see in that illustration, man. All right, but we're going to be giants. The elect will transform. They're going to be like Avatar, so you can understand. And James Cameron knows his Bible, believe me. That's why he came up with that concept of the so-called Navi people and Avatar. Okay, them being at least 7 feet tall. Well, that's our people, man. That is our future. That's how we're gonna look like. No, I'm not saying that we're gonna have blue skin like 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 the Navi people and Avatar. Don't get it twisted. That ain't what I'm saying. Okay, James Cameron only used, he all them filmmakers know that they know about the real black Hebrew Israelites. They know Bible prophecy. They know everything that's getting ready to happen. All right? They understand and know these scriptures, man. Okay, but what did they do? They like to they rather blaspheme and make mockery of the angels and their true likeness, making them look like big squashy headed, big bug eyed aliens. All right, like Steven Spielberg has famously done in many of his blockbuster movies. All right, and then he came up with that latest one, which was considered a little lackluster instead of blockbuster, a so-called Disclosure Day, right? Okay. Once again, he's making mockery of the angels with that movie, man. Okay. But lo and behold, this is what the elect will be coming that day, and men are gonna be afraid. Okay, all these so-called tough guys, top military men, military leaders, and so on, they're gonna be afraid in that day, man. Okay, when the Lord raises His men up and gives them superhuman godlike powers, you damn right they're gonna be afraid, man. Okay, all right. Zephaniah, the 14th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. All right, it goes on to say, "The mighty man shall cry there bitterly." All right, who's that mighty man? Okay, the so-called United States military, Air Force. Okay, U.S. Marines. Okay, these Gurgur troops that the elite are setting up to come up against the men of the Lord in that day. All right, you let them try that, and the Lord just might lift up a standard, like it is written in Isaiah 59 and 19, when the enemy shall come in as a flood. All right, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. That's in Isaiah 59 and 19. You know what I'm saying? All right. But anyway, without further ado, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna we're gonna go right to it now. All right. We're gonna start with the scriptures. All right. I'm gonna start with Isaiah, the 60th chapter, and the 14th. Isaiah 60. I'm gonna start with the 13th verse. All right. So let's get that ready. All right. Isaiah 60 and 13. And uh, this is one of my favorite all-time personal scriptures, by the way. All right. Yeah, Salakia, Isaiah 14. All right. Okay. We're going to read that one. All right, Salakia. Isaiah 60 and 14. The sons also of them that have afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. All right. Now, once again, let's concentrate on the word bending. Why would the enemy? Why would those that have afflicted us would present themselves bending in that day? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to read that again. The sons also of them that afflicted thee, afflicted. Who have afflicted us? You know what I'm saying? Our enemies have afflicted us. Okay? Those that call themselves white and they're not really white. White was really a concept that was developed, if I'm not mistaken, in the year 1681, around during that time. All right? They came up with that concept of white. Okay? They came up with that beautiful light skin concept of white. Okay? In order to start promoting so-called white supremacy and superiority throughout the whole world. Okay? That's why they came up with that concept, white. But prior to that year, prior to that time that I mentioned, the 1681, you can try looking it up on Google. You see that I ain't bullshitting. All right? Prior before that time, that they were not calling themselves nowhere known as white people. That came after that period. All right? But anyway, they are our enemies at this time. They were always meant to be our enemies. Okay, so the so-called white people, the heathen nations, okay, uh, ex-girlfriends, let me include that, your ex, former flame, an ex-wife or an ex-lover, an ex-girlfriend who may have hurt you, all right? For those of you who have known what it's like to get hurt, and get turned down emotionally, all right? Well, guess what? This scripture right here, for uh, this scripture right here promises a beautiful payback, a beautiful recompense to all of that, man. Okay, and it also plays a role, okay, to the future humiliation of them bitches, all right, that have let some of us down in this here setup, man. Okay, so the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending, bending unto thee. Okay, they're going to be afraid. They're going to be intimidated at beholding the sight of a 7 foot magnificent God and their future Lord, so you can understand. They're going to be afraid. They're going to be scared. Oh my God! This king size melanated dark skinned Negro. Oh my God! Oh my gosh! You know what I'm saying? Okay, the Lord is gonna He's going to invoke a type of aura around His men once they transform, to invoke this fear around people, so you can understand. Especially our enemies, especially those who have enjoyed making mockery of us, humiliating us, all right, insulting us, calling us names, all right. You're nothing but a spick. You're nothing but a nigga. Nigga this, nigga that. All right. Eeny, meeny, mighty mo. Catch a nigga by the toe. You ain't nothing but worthless niggas. Well, in that day, they ain't going to be thinking that way, man. All right. Once the Lord brings upon that transformation, so you can understand, ain't nobody ever again gonna call any of us spick or nigger no more. All right? I'm making it very clear right now, looking at the camera. No more of that bullshit. All right? So the Lord is gonna transform his elect men in that day to invoke an aura, a sense of fear upon our enemies, upon those who have enjoyed afflicting and making fun of us, bro. Okay? Because the Lord is going to raise his men to have true power. Okay? True power. You understand what I'm saying? True power. Okay? All right? True power. All right? The ability to disappear, reappear, fly, manipulate the elements. All right? It all spiritual power, man. It all goes with having the possessions. It all goes with having that future glory that the Lord promises. Okay? Because right now in this present day age, okay, a man with power, the so-called white man is known for his power, but that is carnal power. Okay? Uh, when they have shown you famous classic movies like The Godfather, you know how Vito Corleone became a so-called Don Corleone, and then his son Michael picked up the ranks, and he became the new Don, and so on. Okay, that is carnal power. Okay, carnal power, having millions of dollars, millions here, millions there, a couple of trillions, a couple of billions. All right, hey, that's your elite banking family for you. They have that kind of money. They have all these trillions of billions, right? And they feel like they're untouchable, but they are still mortal men at the end of the day. All right, no matter what influence they might have, with the stroke of a pen and so on, they are still mortal men. Okay? In the eyes of the supreme being, the one who made them, the one who made heaven and earth, so you can understand, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, they are just mortal men. All right? But when the Lord, the Son of the supreme being, gets back to this earth, okay? He's going to show what true power is in that day, man. He's going to show that real true power, okay? He's going to give his elect men not only their future wives, future great possessions, but they will also possess spiritual power. True power, okay? True power, my man, all right? That is true power right there. All right? True power, man. You understand what I'm saying? All right? So I'm going to finish reading this whole scripture again. Okay? The Isaiah 60 and 14. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel, Yasha. All right. Okay, now let's get to wisdom. Salakia. Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, the fifth chapter. All right. Bear with me. I'll be right back. All right. So through the Spirit, moving on, I'm back now. All right. And this is Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. All right. I'm going to start reading from the 2nd verse. All right. Okay. Let me just scroll. I'm going to try and highlight it. And it says this. Okay. Now, you know what? Let's start from the first verse. All right. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. All right. So the Lord has given his men days, okay, to confront the oppressor, okay, to tell the oppressor to his face and remind him of all his injustices, all right, and all that he has yet to pay for as a result of those injustices. That great coming final judgment, man. Okay? And have, like I said before, have enjoyed bullying, mocking, okay, insulting, offending, and afflicting us. Okay, have enjoyed afflicting our people. I'm talking about our oppressors. Okay, that's why it says here, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face, before whose face? Before the white man's face. Okay, before the whole world's face. The whole world is really literally our enemy. It is the enemy to the elect of the Most High. All right. So those are the ones who have afflicted and made no account of his labors. Okay? A so-called white man can come up with you know, with the most innovative ideas and come up with a great convenient invention. And massa, the white man, all he does in return is steal that black man's idea at the end of the day and call it his. All right? But that's why the scripture says what it says here, and made no account of his labors. Now, verse 2, when they see it, and who's the they that will see? Our enemies. Okay, the so-called white man and the people in his world. The people in his world, beginning with the 2/3 of our no good people and the heathen nations, all of them will behold the coming greatness of those that they enjoy, that they presently enjoy looking down upon. Okay? Those that they like to see as being nothing but vagabonds, beggars, criminals, okay, bunch of low lives, okay, living in the ghetto, living in roach and rat infested apartments, right. Okay, the scripture here is saying when they shall see the transformation, okay, and briefly getting back to Isaiah 60 and 14, okay, and the descendants of them that have afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. All right? They're going to be afraid. They're going to be scared, man. All right? So this serves as a good precept. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. Once again, when the Lord will famously crack the clouds open and lift his elect men up in the air, up and away, okay? They're going to transform, and their enemies shall behold them. I'll briefly go into Revelation 11 and 11, if I'm not mistaken. All right? When they shall, and they ascended up into heaven and made cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Okay, the whole wide world will witness the coming greatness of the so-called spick and nigger in that day. Okay, the whole wide world. Okay, it's going to be televised. It's going to be on live TV and all that. All right, the whole world going to watch, man. All right, when they shall see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. All right, I'm going to keep reading on. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. Okay, meaning that spick, that nigger, that nigger, that nigger being lifted up into a cloud, that nigger, that insignificant nigger, that nigger, that spick, that insignificant peasant, that insignificant low life, he's the chosen of the supreme being. Okay, that's what they're going to be saying to themselves. Okay, this was he who we had sometimes in derisions. This was he. This was that spick. This was that nigger. This was that wetback. All right, you understand what I'm saying? Okay, and a proverb of reproach, verse 4. We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. All right, they're going to call themselves. They're going to the so-called white man and the other nations are going to acknowledge themselves as fools in that day. They're going to call themselves fools in that day. And they're going to be repenting, and then they're going to wish that they had never treated us the way they have. That's what the scripture is saying. We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. Verse 5. How is he numbered upon, how is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot is among the saints? Okay, so they best better believe it in that given day, that is where the meek shall inherit the earth. Briefly quoting, the book of Matthew. Okay, the Lord Himself, Yahushai, that's His real name, not no Jesus Christ, not no Jesus Christo. The Lord Himself has said, all right, that the meek shall inherit the earth. Who are the meek? The meek, the meek, the meek. Who are the meek? Who are those meek? The lowly. Okay, the niggers, the spicks that live in the South Bronx. Okay, that live in South Central LA and East LA. All right. Okay, that live in Chicago, known as Chirac. All right, that live in all these United States and other countries' ghettos. Those are the meek. All right. Okay. Now let's go to Psalms, the 110th chapter. All right. So I'm heading back to Blue Letter. Bear with me a moment. All right. So I'm back at Blue Letter, and this is the book of Psalms, the 110th chapter, and the third verse. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning. Thou hast the dew of thy youth. What does that mean? Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power. And what people? And whose power? It's talking about the 2/3 of our people. It's talking about the stubborn, the thick-headed ones of our people that still refuse to believe. All right, that don't take heed to this word nor the warnings. Okay, that don't take heed to either the lessons or the warnings provided by by the apostles and elders on down throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? That they have not want to acknowledge Yahweh Bahashan Yahushai as their true living God, their true living power. They still want to call themselves Christian or Nation of Islam, a so-called Muslim, or so-called Roman Catholic or Baptist or or Church of Latter-day Saints or whatever. They still want to stick to that old so-called faith, which is nothing but a straight, blatant lie. You know what I'm saying? And they dismiss the elders and apostles' warnings, okay? And the rest of the rest of the faithful servants, right? They fan and wave the hand, and their attitude is like, fuck them niggers, man. Who gives a fuck what the fuck they're saying? You know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta buy or listen to their whatever crap they're saying. Fuck them niggas, man. Okay, so hey, so many of them niggers like that have that kind of blatant disrespect and attitude. You know what I'm saying? When the Lord raises his elect men up in that day, okay, and he raises them up to have them true powers, okay, then these niggas and spicks are gonna have you know what I'm saying? They're gonna become believers in an instant, in a moment. Okay? When they're able to see the greatness that the Most High will have His men do in that day, them same shit talkers, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna go, oh shit, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna react like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you best better believe it, bro. All right, that's what's coming. That true power, all right. For those of you that don't like to believe, all right, you're gonna believe. You're gonna believe in that day. You're gonna believe. You're gonna know in that day for sure. All right. Okay. All right. That's why the scripture says what it's saying here. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power. Okay. When they see so-called niggers and spicks become as angels, all right, with extraterrestrial spiritual powers, able to fly and all that, all right, able to defy and even destroy the United States military, all right, then they're going to believe, then they're going to be afraid, all right, okay, oh, all right now, all right, let's get Isaiah, the second chapter now. I'll read a few verses off of that, all right. So this is Isaiah, the second chapter. I'm going to read from verses 9 through 12. And this is what it says. And the mean man boweth down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not. Enter into the rock, and hide thee in the dust, for fear of the Lord, and the glory of his majesty. Verse 11. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Okay, so the Lord, you know what I'm saying? The Lord, you know, he's going to, he getting ready to humble a lot of people down here, man. Like I said earlier, he's coming back to show what true power is really all about. All right? He's going to show the whole wide world in that day whom they shall really fear. Because right now, they fear the so called white man. They fear this little puny white man because of his influence, because he stole the whole planet Earth. All right? All the riches and glory that he's enjoying now is really stolen property, man. All right? He's living off stolen goods, so you can understand. All right? But with it, he's been able to exercise authority, exercise this and that. You know what I'm saying? And people are, several people are still see him as a god. He likes exalting himself as a god. Salakia. You know what I'm saying? So the scripture here is saying, in an upcoming prophecy, a prophecy that will unfold shortly, that's right around the corner. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. All right? Verse Salakia, verse 12. Verse 12. For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty, and upon every one that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low. See? That's what's coming. All right? Okay? Isaiah 14 now. Isaiah 14, I'll read a few verses off of that. All right? Isaiah 14 and 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. All right? And the strangers, that's talking about obviously the so-called white man and his people. All right, the other heathen nations. Okay, and it's also referring to those of our people in that day. All right, like I said earlier, those that will become believers at last minute when they see the elect get risen up, then they're going to start treating the men of the Lord with the respect that they deserve. All right? That's what that means. When they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. All right. Verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel, Yasha'Allah, shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So that's a future prophecy. That's right around the corner. That's only a matter of time. It could be the next several months. It could be at least another year or two, but it's that close, man. All right. We may not get to see the end of this decade. There may not really be a 2029 or even 2030. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, only Lord knows for sure, but with the way things are moving now, you know what I'm saying? Especially with this heated war with Iran, Nero, ego-faced Trump. You know what I'm saying? He's just going up and at it, man. All right. He's literally, you know what I'm saying? He's literally going to dismantle Babylon the Great and finish the job of bringing it down. All right? Okay? Ultimately, that's what's getting ready to happen. All right? Verse 3, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Verse 4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, saying, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. All right? That once again, that's talking about America, aka Babylon the Great. All right? Verse 5, the Lord, the Most High, have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindered. Salakin. Okay, so right now we are still living in a world ruled by the oppressor. And that oppressor is the so-called white man, Esau being his biblical name. Throughout all these hundreds of years, since the Most High gave him that power, he has ruled the nations in anger. Okay? He has been a rough tyrant. Okay? Invading other nations. Okay? Eliminating, unaliving some leaders of these other nations. Okay? Removing other leaders of these other countries and taking their resources, so you can understand. All right? That's what that's talking about. Verse 7, the whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. All right? So when Esau finally gets bringing down from his power seat, the whole world will celebrate, including the heathen nations. Every living element made by the Most High will celebrate and break forth into singing. Even the trees shall sing, so you can understand. All right? Psalms 18 now. Let's get there real quick. All right? And I'll end it with Revelation 1 and 7. All right? All right, so I'm at Psalms 18 now. I'm going to read a few verses off of that. All right, moving on to the Spirit. I'm going to start at verse 40. Psalms 18 and 40. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. All right. Salakia. Verse 41. They cried, but there was none to save them. Even unto the Lord he answered them not. Then my dip beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. Thou hast delivered me from the strivings of the people, and thou hast made me the head of the heathen. A people whom I have not known shall serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me. All right? The strangers shall submit themselves unto me. I'm going to read a few more. The strangers shall fade away and be afraid out of their close places. See? All right? But what is the name of tonight's topic? They shall fear the elect. All right? Okay? Verse 46. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the power of my salvation be exalted. It is Yahweh that avengeth me, and subdueth the people unto me. I'm going to read that again, Salakia. It is the Most High that avengeth me, and subdueth the people under me. He delivered me from mine enemies. Yea, thou liftest me up above those that rise up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore will I give unto thee, therefore will I give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name. Great deliverance giveth he to his king, and showeth mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed forevermore. So call Allah Yahweh Bahashal Yahushai on that. Now I'm going to end it with Revelation 1 and 7. All right. All right. Revelation 1 and 7 says this: Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. All right. So quoting that quote, when the Lord cracketh them clouds, all right, when he cracketh them clouds open on that giant fathership, hey, that's gonna be something to lo and behold in that day, man. Okay, here it is. We still live in an age where we grew up. Those people like myself, we grew up with all these so-called fantasy and sci-fi movies dealing with giant spaceships and so on. All right, Star Trek, Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. All right, and then 30 years ago, Independence Day with Will Smith came out. You know what I'm saying? Those are movies. But to lo and behold a magnificent giant ship with your actual naked eye. You know what I'm saying? That has got to be really something really out of this world, man. All right? And the Lord really is out of this world. He himself has said, I am not of this world. And he's coming back in such a fashion. And when the people see this, when they see him, especially in that day, they're gonna wail because of him. They're gonna fear that word wail is another word for sadness. It's another word for depression. The people are not gonna rejoice in that day. They're gonna be in a state of mourning because their party, fun will finally come to an abrupt end. All right? No more partying, no more bullshit. Time for mourners now, man. All right? Those of the wicked shall mourn in that day. All right? The wicked two-thirds of our people, they like being buddy, uh, you know, join hands with the enemy. All right? The so-called white man, all of them will be afraid in that day, man. All of them will be afraid. All right? All of them will wail, will be sad, will be depressed to see their world go down. Okay? To see their world being trampled down. All right? By the wrath of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua in that day. All right? That's what that literally means. Okay? So I'll end it with that. Okay? I hope this was edifying. Okay? Shalom.